Yes, people, welcome back to Not Guilty TV. Today, delighted to be joined again by Carlon Campbell-Robinson, aka Tiny. So if you hadn't seen, we did a great interview a few years back that caused real storm. Carlon's got an absolutely
Just
insane...
to cut you there. Sorry to cut you, mate. I'm not going by Tiny anymore. I've reverted to my Muslim name, Islamic name, Ikrama.
And do you want me to reintroduce you, or you happy with it just like that?
No, continue.
So,
Just put that.
so let me pronounce it correctly. Ikrama. So I get it. Ikrama, yeah, all right. So Ikrama's got an absolutely remarkable story. On his last stretch, he spent nearly 20 years behind bars. He spent, I think, 18 years behind bars. Did absolutely remarkable stuff. He ended up writing critically acclaimed theatre play behind bars that actually got put into production and was sold out in London. It's an absolutely remarkable thing to do. He's managed to stay out of trouble since coming out. He's also done 2 audio books that are absolutely incredible. So I highly recommend anyone going to them and go and have a listen to them. The 3rd book's going to be on its way soon as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But I'd like to... Oh, actually, I nearly forgot as well. And he ended up doing a pilot of a reality TV show called Cancelled, which is obviously such a hard thing to actually get over the line and actually make happen. So I'd like to really commend you for everything you've done, and then most importantly for staying out of trouble. It's very easy to sort of revert back to type or what you know, or especially when you spend 20 years in jail. I know you changed
Yeah,
yourself, but you'd come from a very violent place. So obviously there's been lots of situations, I'm sure, where you've been provoked and so like I said, well done for staying out of trouble. Incredible, my brother. So well
yeah,
done.
yeah. It happens on a day-to-day basis, man. It's always about old me and new me, that battle. I spoke about it before. I completed the self-change program, which is called SCP. A lot of people ain't familiar with it, but it's the course you got to do if you want to be downgraded from Cat A to Cat B, and essentially, if you want to get on that journey to getting home. A lot of people have been talking about it recently online as that rapper Crazy Titch also completed the same course. Um, so yeah, he makes a lot of reference to old me and know me, and it brings back memories because we was the first ones to do that course when we first started it. It was CSCP. Then we started it, and then a week in, they stopped it and said, listen, you guys got 2 weeks off. Now you got a week off. We're re-changing the course. I'm going to change the course to SCP. And we started it. And yeah, it was a really productive course. They say courses don't work, but that course definitely works. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's incredible, like I said. But the one thing, obviously, anyone who's listened to the interview, you had a real fearless mentality when it came to this street life, and you're a real menace on the streets, I'm sure you'd admit. But the one thing I like is how you've sort of taken that same sort of mentality to the media and the legitimate world, and you're going at anyone and everyone, fighting for the truth, telling your stories no matter what it upsets or who it upsets, and also talking about losses and stuff that you've taken. But
I think for me, it's more about responding or reacting. I do consider myself a journalist as well. And yeah, I do break stories, whether it's stories in America, here, or wherever. And you're always going to have people who try and press you. Um, so yeah, you just got to, obviously, you got to stand up for yourself. But I think one thing I remember the psychologist telling me on when I completed the course, or all of us, you ain't changed. In terms of your character, you're still gonna be. If you was vicious before, you're still gonna have a vicious personality. The only difference is you don't use violence. Do you get it? Usually, from where we're from, if someone disrespects you, straight away you resort to violence. If someone tells you suck your mum, it's violence. If someone assaults you, it's violence. Whereas once we complete the SCP, we was able to put in those skills and tools in place, the time out. And we don't I don't revert to violence. And I remember when I was doing that course, they asked me, what do you want to get from this course? And I remember my answer. It was, I want to get to a stage where if I'm disrespected or challenged, I don't just resort to violence. And that's the place that I'm in, and I'm really proud of that. Been home a number of years, and yeah. But yeah, I just want to just correct that.
No, that's not remarkable. Like us, like you just sort of stated there, you can react. There's no problem reacting. Everyone's going to react to something. We have emotions. We're human beings, so we're going to react. But then it's all about reacting in a positive way, something that's not going to get you in trouble,
Pro-social
whether
way.
it's reacting with the pen or with your mouth or doing a video or something like this. These are
Right.
good ways to obviously get it out there, isn't it, and do it in a better way.
Yeah, because that another thing they say on that course is it's about that you're okay and the other person's okay. So if someone disrespects you and you don't say nothing, and they disrespect you again, or someone else disrespects you, just don't say nothing. You're just bottling it up inside. You're not okay. Do you get it? So if someone disrespects you or you disagree with something, as long as you respond in a pro-social manner, it's cool. Because we're all human beings, we've got a right to react in how we react. Um, so yeah, that's all it's about. It's about just reacting in a pro-social way.
Course. And going back to your interview that we done, obviously it was crazy interview for people to go back and listen to it if you haven't already. But obviously your story, where you're real in the deep end of it, the people that you were sort of having it with or having it against were some real serious name brand street legends. And so that it's been difficult as such for because people don't want to talk about these people at all, whether it's the cosign stories, the people are scared to talk about these people, whether it's been the Garys or the Marks or anyone else you sort of the chaoses that you came across. And so it's been no one's sort of coming out volunteering to sort of co-sign it. Almost other people have been coming out along the way and trying to sort of back these people, their badness, which these genuinely are. No one's ever doubting their badness, but you're just telling your truth as such. And a couple of weeks ago, there was someone who came out the blue and ended up co-signing one of the stories from the interview, which was a crazy one, which was the story with you and Lambie. I don't know if you want to remind us when you left the HSU unit with Gary and then ended.
Yeah. Look, first and foremost, because I don't really like going over it, but because obviously we're all in different spaces now. I have no idea what he's up to professionally or that kind of thing, but I can only speak for myself. I'm in a different space. But yeah, you're right. We did speak about an incident that took place in Franklin. I was on the unit in Belmarsh. If anyone who doesn't know what that is, that's the prison within the prison. Um, and I was next door to Tyson, Gary Nelson. He was next door to me. It's funny because I was sitting in the cell, and next door was the cell next door was empty, and he came on. I didn't know he was coming on, and I'm banged up. He's seen my name, obviously, knows it's me, knows I'm on there, and then they banged him up, and then he's banging the wall, winding me up, saying, "Yo, it's on when the doors open. You're gonna get it." Da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, "All right, bro. Doors the bell." We're just going back and forth. But I had no idea who it was. But I came out for a phone call maybe 2 hours later, looked in, it was Gary, and he just started laughing, and I just started laughing. Happy to see him. I'd only seen him once since school days. We actually used to go to school together, a school called Grafham Grange in Guildford. But getting back to the story, we was banged up next door to each other on the unit, and we're both a handful, no diddy. And they wanted to separate us, and they decided I was the least dangerous to move. Gary's notorious for knocking them out, putting them in fridges, doing a lot of stuff. Yeah. While I, put my hands on one or two, nowhere near the level of that guy, the level of respect that they got for that guy. Do you get it? And yes, they come and moved me forcefully. They forced me to move to the ones. And then I went on a dirty protest. No, the twos they moved me from to the twos. So I'm on a different landing. And I went on a dirty protest. And they put me in a block, which they didn't like. Because on the CSC, everyone's well behaved. It's men. It's top tier. You're not going to get petty arguments or people acting up, or you don't get that. Everyone's of a certain caliber. And they just focus on trying to work on their case and stuff. So yeah, they don't like, the block's always empty. So to open a block, they've got to man that 24 hours. That's like minimum 2 officers. That's two officers. That would usually be on the wings that 9 o'clock. So they wanted me out there immediately. So the governor came down the same day, said, look, have a shower and we'll get you out of here. And 48 hours later, I was on my way. My first dispersal, it's March, maybe April, but I'm sure it's March 2003. I get transferred to HMP Frankland, where they transfer me straight to the block, because you go block to block at that point, and I'm sure still now, they want to test your temperament. You've just come up with dirty protests, you're aggressive. We can't just put you up on a wing. You might assault a prisoner, you might assault a member of staff, if that makes sense. And I spent a week in the block, and I was down there with a guy called Toby Johnson, big player from over east. And yeah, so he brought me up to speed on what was going on in the jail. He'd been in the block for a week. And yeah, he suspected that Mark was behind him being placed in the block. Obviously, at that time, I've got straight beef with him. And they brought me up to F Wing without my property. Told me I'd go the following morning to reception to collect my property. So you're looking forward to that. And I'll never forget, they brought me down to the reception the following morning, got all my property, got back to them about 11 o'clock. I even unpacked stuff, just in there, taking in the new environment, whatever. And at midday, doors opened. It was an officer called Malcolm. He's gone, yeah, you're going to the block. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've just got here. And they're like, you're going to the block. I'm like, what for? Won't tell you. We'll tell you when you get to the block. And I got to the block and I got a GOAD sheet saying information from Trident. You and Mark Lambie cannot be in the same jail. But then what happened? It's like a domino effect. That's like 12, 12:15. I got that GOAD sheet. At 2 o'clock, this PO Malcolm has gone on to G Wing where Lambie and everybody was Escobar, Stitcher, Travis, Giscombe, Curtis Brooks, the guy you speak about, who came out last week or the week before and co-signed this story. And this officer has walked onto the wing and in front of everybody has said to Mark, that's 2 favours you owe me. Robinson's in the block. Travis and Giscombe, they were heroin addicts who heavily relied on Toby to keep them high. And they took 2 favours to mean Toby was the first favour. And then whatever happened after on camera, they brought up some oil, they threw it at them. It hit Sass from Mozart, Shaka from Grove, Miss Mark. They was all at the domino table. And then obviously they've gone to the block, whatever. But one of them was left because only one threw it. But the yardies were telling Mark, you got to go and do in his pal. It's a liberty. We're at the domino table too. Suppose it hit us. And Mark was like, no, I didn't know this bit. Curtis Brooks told me this bit because I wasn't on the wing. But Curtis Brooks said, Mark said, no, it's nothing to do with me. It didn't touch me. And then that same day, Stitcher dragged Mark into a cell, slapped him up a bit, beat him up a bit, threw him out on the landing. And yeah, there's a lot of shouting going on. They both got nicked, ended up in the block. And then they moved Mark. That same day, they moved him to F Wing, where people were asking him, why was you having it with Shaka? Because Shaka had previously done 5 years for rape. So like, why was you having it with that rapist over there? And Mark's response was, it was only a white girl. As I told you years ago, as I've told you repeatedly. We must put in that clip from Yami B. He seems to be following what's going on in my stories. The other day, he's told a story, remixed one of my stories, and said it started because I said it's only a white boy. Do you get it?
So this one happened in the category A's of Long Lartin. right? He just legged it from Whitehall, and he called a small little geezer a white boy on one of those wings, right? One of the little geezer's friends, namely the traveller Tomo, right, from Lancashire, right? You might.
But yeah, and anyway, because he said that, there was a guy over there called Dave O'Malley who was kind of like running that wing, and they beat up Mark again, and he was transferred to a less violent prison, BCAT, HMP Loudon Grange.
Okay, and like you said a minute ago, as you just stated, Curtis Brooks was there, personally witnessed everything that went on, and he's just come out a couple of weeks ago and ended up co-signing it. And he's proper fella
You know
out
what?
Brixton, isn't it?
You should put the
I
things
will.
out on this still.
I will.
But yeah, we was on Insta, and we just in the comments. I posted something, and yeah, it was just random. But yeah, he just confirmed he was there, saw it. I knew he was there because I spoke to him maybe a month and a half before. And obviously I knew he was in the jail, but the fine detail I didn't know. But yeah, he came out and he co-signed it and said it happened. Stitcher put hands on him. Da, 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 da.
Yeah,
But
so fair play to Curtis.
anyone within that time knows it happened because it happened.
But like I said, it's taken a couple of years because no one wants to come out and talk about Mark or any of these people. Understandably, Mark's a very dangerous guy. So I mean, no disrespect to Mark by saying this. This is just your truth, your story. You're putting out your something that is what it is. So
It is what it is, man. You know, his time's gone, just like my time's gone. I'm no longer in the streets, and you know, that fear factor that would have been around both of us isn't there anymore. And people know if they're disrespectful to me, I'm not going to come looking for them to harm them. Whereas before, if you're disrespectful, you're going to get dealt with. So when you know what the streets are like. The streets are about fear.
of course. And you ended up mentioning Yami then a second ago. So he made some allegations last night that you and Mark ended up bumping into each other a few months back or whatever. He didn't say it.
Listen, the geezer's lost his brain, man. He's bordering harassment now. He's making a lot of videos that are inaccurate. You know, trying to tarnish my character. Excuse me. And he's remixing some of my stories. But the ending's different. And that's to try and convince people not to buy my books or to convince people he's the truth. I don't really know how his brain works, but I can reassure you that the allegation he made yesterday that me and Mark bumped into each other, and Mark walked up to me because, as Yanni said, quote, he's working a 9 to 5 now. And I say that because why would you say that? Like, you definitely haven't got Mark's permission to say such a complete fabricated lie. And then he told a story he put up 2 stories. He done another video earlier in the day talking about myself and Chung went to Grendon together. I was on the VPs in Grendon, not in wherever we came from. I don't know what Jaylee said. Chung didn't know me, and he got off the bus first, and he didn't know no one else was on the bus. The bus is small, mate. They feed you on the bus. Yeah, you talk. You know, you get it. So you're not going to travel on a bus or not know no one's on the bus. You know what I mean? And we didn't go to Grendon, and we didn't go together. But I don't really care about the story because who knows. But what I was concerned with is he said in the story that I gave Tommy Pitt a phone, which he was supposed to pay me for, which he didn't pay me for. Again, total fabrication and just trying to belittle me, which is fine. I can deal with that. But Tommy's in jail trying to get out. He's most probably in a CCAT now because we was in, where was we? Gartree. And the last thing he needs is to be going on a parole board to answer questions about did I or anybody else give him a phone, or has he been using phones while he's in jail? Because that's deemed a very serious offence. So yeah, I think Yami B's really wrong for making up these fabricated stories. And yeah, if he's watching
course.
this.
And free Tommy
Just
Pitt, legendary street figure Tommy Pitt is. So free Tommy Pitt, I'm sure he's turned his life around and all he's trying to do is come home rather than be involved in any badness, whether it's phones, weapons or drugs or anything like that. So yeah, hopefully he's home soon.
yeah, I've heard. I haven't spoken to him directly, but when I go live and stuff like that, people from all over come in the lives, and there's a few people have come in from Manchester. Got a couple of messages in the chat from him, but he's meant to be doing well.
Yeah, no. So good luck to Tommy. Hopefully, like I said, home soon. But
Definitely definitely a notorious, serious character out of Manchester. One of the top three for sure.
see that Quincy the other day was on the Terry Stone podcast. Shout out to Terry Stone, shout out to Quincy. But he ended up telling a story about Gary Nelson, who you mentioned at the start, the Lambie story. Shout out Tyson, another real legendary figure. Did you get a chance to see the Terry Stone thing with Quincy? Did you hear the story?
Yeah, I was on a TikTok live, and someone came in and said, "Have you heard the latest?" I'm like, "What's the latest?" They're like, "Yeah, Quincy's dropped a new interview with Terry Stone." And I was like, "Wow," because he approached me about 8-9 weeks ago for an interview, and I said, "What's the fee?" He said he doesn't pay fees. I told him to keep moving, respectfully. So he's obviously approached him. But yeah, someone came in the chat and they was like, "I'm going to play it for you." So I brought them up onto the stage and they played the relevant section where he's talking about Tyson. And yeah, it's just a fabricated version by someone who's obviously, understandably, still upset because he nearly died. What Tyson done to him, which is all documented, is public knowledge. He nearly died. One more hit, he won't be here.
Which he openly admitted to in the interview as well. Like he said the female officer saved him.
Yeah, that's facts. But yeah, the narrative that he's pushed, as if he was onto Tyson and he was, on multiple occasions was verbally disrespecting Tyson, and Tyson was very timid, and like he was the alpha male in the dialogue exchange. Anyone who knows Tyson knows that's nonsense. But one thing he said, another thing that he said was that he wasn't scared of him because he had seen. I'm not saying he was scared of him. I don't think he was, to be honest. Yeah. But he said he wasn't scared of him because he had seen Vincent Rapp bully Tyson over a long period.
And so Vincent Rapp, for anyone who don't know, legendary Brixton figure who was both your stepfather at a certain point. Both your mothers were with Vincent at a certain point, correct?
Yeah. My mother was with him about 25, 30 years ago.
Legendary figure.
Yeah, legendary figure out of Brixton. And I phoned him yesterday morning. I spoke to him, I just in case I missed something, I spoke to him yesterday. It was the first time I spoke to him in a while, in maybe coming up 2 months or 6 weeks, I can't remember. But yeah, so I asked him. I told him about the interview. He hadn't seen it. I must send it to him actually, because I said I would. I didn't. He might have found it. But I told him what Quincy had said about Tyson, that Vincent used to bully him and whatnot. And Vincent has said, total rubbish, nonsense. Me and Gary are good. I'm saying, so you didn't used to bully him? Me and Gary are good. I said, did anything happen? He goes, listen, it's total rubbish. I don't know why he keeps using my name. Yeah, me and Gary are good. And he said, quote, he keeps going around podcasts, disrespecting me, throwing dirt on my name, then wants to use my name when it suits him. He's only been able to function in Brixton under my name. And if he feels like that, which he obviously does, because he's telling all the podcasts that Vincent's a bad person who basically bullied him when he was bringing him up, then he shouldn't speak to me, unquote. That's what Vincent said yesterday. And it was kind of weird because I didn't speak to him for a few weeks, because I used to speak to him for about 6 or 7 weeks. I used to speak to him on that. It was at a stage where we was talking nearly every day. A lot of people don't know this. We was talking every day. We even linked maybe 2.5 months ago. He's got another son who's a scientist. We're involved with a project I'm not going to speak about, which involves a scientist. And I brought Vincent to meet one of my business partners. And yeah, who could pull a few strings for his son, who is at uni. But yeah, so yeah, I was kind of surprised when I heard on the live that him and Quincy had linked up. I think I was on a TikTok with one of those guys, not going to mention his names, and they're like, he's with him now, and it surprised me. And yeah, I sent Vincent a message like, that's snaky, what's going on? I thought you didn't deal with this guy because he's been disrespecting you so much, and obviously due to that disrespect is why my thought process in terms of him and how I see him completely changed, and why I'm so harsh in this being objective with him, whereas before I'd have been protective. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And Vincent explained to me, it wasn't an arranged meeting. He's only seen him once in 2 years. It wasn't an arranged meeting. He said he was walking down Cole Harbour Lane one way, Quincy's walking up the other way, and they just bumped into each other. So I said, how's that? He goes, he thinks someone phoned him and said, yo, Vincent's in Brixton. So just to orchestrate that move, he's gone to Brixton and then called one of the podcasters. Yeah. To say, yo, I'm with Vincent. It was an orchestrated move because I made it clear Vincent don't deal with him. Do you understand? So to discredit that, he's called a podcaster, say, look, I'm with Vincent. Look, he's all manipulation. But yeah, just get back to the interview. Yeah, he's just pushing a narrative. There's a lot of politics going on with obviously the pain that he went through. The issue obviously with Yami B again introducing Tyson's wife at the time. I don't know about now. I don't know what's going on, but to Quincy, and allegedly, I don't know for sure. Allegedly, they're together, and she does a lot of their paperwork. She's done a lot of paperwork for the artists as well, I'm told, allegedly. And yeah, so he's obviously just in his feelings, man. But anyone who knows Gary will know that, yeah, it just didn't go out. It just didn't happen like that.
Okay, so yeah, man, so shout out to Tyson, and even Free Tyson, and even shout out to Quincy's. So like, even though obviously for your past, Quincy has done great things in himself. Quincy did a lot of jail time, and he has turned his life around for what it's seen since he's come out. He's tried to do a lot of media stuff, whether it be the series and music. And so I respect anyone who has turned their life around.
I don't listen. I don't agree with that. I don't think he's turned his life around at all.
Well, I don't know what goes on in the background, but all I see is he's trying to do legit stuff, whether it be the music, he's tried to do series and stuff like this. So I respect that like that. But obviously,
Listen to me. Let's just get this right. I respect all of that. But when you're running around and your right hand man's young Don, that's his right hand, yeah, who's selling kilos. Let's keep this right. We can't be misleading the youths, yeah?
allegedly,
Who's selling kilos. Well, he just came out for selling kilos and went back to jail, yeah? And he's just come out and he's gone back again for kilos. Let's keep it a buck. Do you get it? Yeah? So if you are legit, I'm legit. I do not roll with people who sell drugs. I don't hang around people who have guns or who commit criminal activity. Because if I do, then one, I'm condoning that lifestyle.